take it. I had an interview with an activist from Frankfort, Kentucky, and I asked her this question. I said, "Where's the civil rights movement today?" You want to know what she said?
What?
She said, "There isn't really any. There isn't really any." Talk to me.
Revolution continue. And our enemies and our forces, they put different names on our struggle, civil rights and all this. Our struggle started when the first white man came to Africa and grabbed one of us, and it was him. We run the last one out. So our movement and our struggle take different forms all over the world. But we fighting and organizing and singing and struggling and trying to come from under colonialism and imperialism and Zionism all over the world. And that the movement continues, and it takes many different forms. Sometimes it takes forms of non-violent and singing the songs and whatever, and then other times it took forms of chant, black power, black power. Cities burning down, confronting the police, confronting the army, confronting all levels of injustice through fires and brick throwing and rebellions and whatever. And then other times it take a form through conscience and educating and ideological development and developing worldviews and whatever. And so the struggle take different forms, and it's been taking a form. It took many forms. Now we are totally different than what we was in 66, 64 and all that. Like for example, we are growing mentally so strong that in 1 year we went to the back of the bus, and now we wouldn't go on the back of the bus, especially the white man tell us to get on the back of the bus. We have worldviews. One time we used to tell the president wasn't no damn good. People thought you was great talking about the president, and now anybody you tell the president ain't no good, everybody say yeah. And we say, Martin King said, America is the greatest terrorist nation in the world. This Martin King, all these folks run from him. I don't know why you say that, Martin King. About America. And now the same people that ran, can't nobody deny the fact that America is the greatest terrorist nation in the world. And they've committed terrorism all over the world. So the conscience of the people have grown to a certain extent and continue to grow. And that as the conscience grows, the people become more ripe for struggle, more ripe for revolution, more ripe for movement. And the people today are more ripe for movement than ever before in our history. And then now the people can see, they got statistics that show that more people are suffering in jails, in prison, more families, more mothers don't have their man, more mothers don't have their children, more of our brothers in these jails and prison being beat down, killed, robbed, murdered, and what have you. And we tell people the television tell lies. Now everybody know that the news ain't nothing but a propaganda wing for white racist America. So the conscience of the people is part of that movement too. So our movement, people continue to grow in different levels, and even for brothers like yourself that go and do research and get all kinds of statistics and stuff like that, that's all part of the movement.
Right. It's just changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it comes in many forms.
Okay.
Many forms. But now we have to come to organize as many of those forms as possible to make one big strong rock, one big strong movement where we can continue to move power forward. And that's what we meant by black power, putting all us together and fighting. And then when we talked about black power, Malcolm and Garvey and Nkrumah and Sekou Touré came and said, look, it'll be even more power if we use Pan-Africanism, worldwide African unity, worldwide black unity, fighting together. And then they defined and say, in order to have this black power, you got to have land. Africa is your land, and it's rich with diamonds and gold and oil and trees, 12 million square miles of land. Mao Zedong said, power, land is the base of Malcolm. Land is the base of all power. And that, so we recognize we got to have our land with our resources on it, and then we can have our nation. And by having our nation, we can have our army, have our economic system, and we can feed, clothe, and educate and solve the problems of our own people. And this is what this movement and this struggle has led us to. So we talk about Pan-Africanism, but then it even get bigger, because now Pan-Africanism, it's hooked up with the Chinese and with the Indians, and we saw in the Irish, and we saw this happening to people of all kinds all over the world. And we looked and saw this from looking at the shaft in Alabama. Now we see that monster is bigger than that shaft and bigger than the Ku Klux Klan. We see imperialism. We see colonialism and neo-colonialism, what we called Uncle Tom. Now we see neo-colonialism set up where governments are being used by the imperialists, where governments are used, presidents, and they ain't got no real power, where black men are put in position and they're nothing but puppets for the white races, for the Ku Klux Klan. Like when we demonstrated in Mississippi, demanded a black police when they killed Meg Evans. They went and got the worst black man they could find and put him on the police force. And they used to give him sticks, and y'all demonstrated for a nigger police. Now you got one. Come in Red, and Red would beat you to death. Red killed more black people than the white police did, than all of them put together. He put more black folks in jail than all, he even put his mama, his brother. He was killed by his own son. And that was the biggest party in Jackson, Mississippi. When Red got killed, they went to the funeral home and just stuck knives in and spit on him and pissed on him and just danced in the street because Red was dead. Red was a murderer of his own people for the white races in Mississippi. And these are the kind of people that they set up in power, like Mobutu Sese Seko in the Congo, the man who murdered Lumumba for the United States, the CIA. And then they set these people up all over the world that would rape and rob and murder their own people for the power of the white structure that hold us in slavery. And Malcolm pointed that out. And then so here, we
You know something?